Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this episode, as it were, of the Professional Development Consortium of Hampton Roads continuing education program designed to help the leaders and managers of membership associations lead smarter, not harder. Every month we offer something free, be it a workshop like we've got tonight or roundtables, which are all about connection. And then once a quarter, at least, we have some deeper dive, perhaps our symposium, seminar. So we got all kinds of good stuff. Like I said, most of it's free. It's really done in honor of and respect for those people who are volunteering after their day job to get engaged with their community. It might be a community of interest, might be a community of practice, it might be their community writ large. But everybody who steps up to the plate to lead one of those is, I think, a really special person. So that's why we put this together. It's as an alternative or a supplement to other sources of leadership and management education. So with that, what we're focusing on, and this is wrapping up our series for this quarter, is marketing in general. We had 2 months ago, we had a roundtable just to kind of connect people who are in that space, to learn from each other and learn about each other. Last month, we had a workshop that was focused on learning what prospective members need, people who are in that community of practice, but not yet in your organization. And tonight, Blair's going to bring us home with some insights on digital marketing. So there's kind of a deep dive here. We're going to be looking, at one tool in particular, and Blair's also very generously decided to or offered to keep the door open and just answer any of your marketing questions. I met Blair, I don't know, probably about maybe 6 months ago or so, through a business networking group we both have in common. And after just chatting him with a little bit about some of my own challenges with marketing, the Professional Development Consortium, I said, my God, this guy knows so much more that needs to be shared with others. I can't just keep this stuff to myself. So I graciously agreed to meet with us tonight, and whatever night that is for those of you who are watching this a little bit later. So with that, Blair, the floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. I can go ahead and introduce myself. Again, my name is Blair Neher. I run a company called Talking Monkey Media. I've been in business since '07, but I've been in the web space for just about as long as it's been around, and you could start tinkering with it. So I've been doing this a long time. My company pretty much does everything under the digital marketing umbrella. And that's basically just saying using the internet to drive traffic and connect you with the right people. So that's websites, organic traffic, paid traffic, content marketing, which is using blogging and newsletters to connect, anything under the social media umbrella as well. So pretty much everything a business, local business would need to get themselves on the map and to the front of the page. Basically, that's what people are after, is to be front and center for the people who are searching for them. So I talked to Mark about this talk and about the audience here, and I tried to put myself in y'all's shoes, and that is limited budget, not necessarily a business trying to sell something, but yet having the need to connect with a specific group of people. And so one of the best tools out there, and it's absolutely free, is Google My Business. And that title throws a lot of people off. Like a real estate agent who is technically a business will say, "Oh, I can't use that. I'm not a brick and mortar business," and that's not true. And a nonprofit might say, "Well, that's again for businesses. We can't use that." That's not true. It's pretty much for any entity that is a business entity of some sort, sole proprietorship, nonprofit, and an organization, a church. They can all use this tool, and it's a good way to connect to people in the Google search and in Google Maps. So I'll go ahead and share my presentation real quick. So yeah, it's basically getting the most out of a Google's free tool, Google My Business. So what is Google My Business? It's a free to use tool for entities to manage their online presence across Google, including the search results in Google Maps. And so in this case, it's organizations, you guys. So when you do a local search and the results display in the Google Map Pack, where Google provides a map with an A, B, C pin or a 1, 2, 3 pin with businesses, that's the Map Pack. And those entities that show up in the Map Pack are people's Google My Business listings. So that's really the easiest connection I can show you guys, is that this is where these show up when people search. But it's also on its own, it's an online presence itself, where you could use it for your organization. You could use it in lieu of a website. So let me back up a little bit. So I did a little piece on here about understanding search results for local businesses. This also applies for local organizations or anybody, really. So when a consumer does a Google search on a local service or product, they are presented with several different views from Google. And Google does mix this up, but right now, present day, it's pretty much the Google guaranteed service ads if you're doing a service type search. There's the Google Map Pack, which is organic. And then below that, there are paid and organic, just regular website listing search results. So I can show you, I put together a little, so this is a typical Google search. These listings up here are Google guaranteed ads. These are paid ads. You can tell they're paid ads because of where they are. And they show the service businesses reviews. Just this bit of an education. This is kind of what we're talking about here in the Map Pack.
Blair?
Yes.
Can I ask you to zoom back a little bit, make it the image a little bit bigger? My 60-year-old eyes are having issues. Thank you. Perfect.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So again, at the top here, the Google guaranteed service ads, these may or may not show up depending on the type of search you're doing. There's the Map Pack, which is going to show up most times you're doing a local search of some kind. And then below that is everybody's websites. Sometimes these are ads as well, and they will say ad beside them. Again, this is where Google My Business listings show up, is in the Map Pack when people are doing a search. So that's an easy way to identify them. Little explanation on the local service ads. You have to go through a process with Google to actually get Google guaranteed. You have to do a background check. You have to do you provide insurance, contractors stuff, etc. So these are new, and they're very interesting for anybody that's in the service industry, because they are right up front, and Google's never showed people's reviews like that before, which we will get back to reviews in a minute. So this is our meat and potatoes. The Google Map Pack is the interactive listing of businesses and entities paired with map information. Again, they do show the rating, where they're located, what category they're under. So I did a search for plumber near me, and these are the results I got. So these are all in the category plumber. Gives you their hours, one click to the website, one click to directions. And the phone number should be clickable as well. And that's both mobile and desktop. So you might wonder why you should bother with Google My Business. So for small organizations, a well-managed Google My Business listing can serve as your main online presence in lieu of a website. So between this and a free Facebook page, you really could manage your online presence pretty well and never spend the money on a website. You can get away with a lot with Google My Business and a Facebook page. So it is definitely a must-have for anybody who's trying to be competitive as a business and competitive as an organization. If you guys are an organization that is, we manage the pool here, and across the street is the other pool, and you're trying to be competitive with them, it's definitely a tool that you should use to help yourself in that.
Blair, just to throw a point in there about competitiveness. There is competition among membership associations, not necessarily in what they're focused on, but competing for everything else in an individual's life, right? To take the time to come and attend a program, to be an active member and stuff like that. So, a lot of people will look at us as membership associations and say, oh, there's not really a competitive thing here, but there absolutely is, right?
Interesting. Yeah, and I'm learning a lot about what you guys do, and Mark educated me in as much as I can absorb, um, and so you guys are definitely in a different angle, but I really think this is still a tool that you guys could utilize, and get one step up, and it's really just effort. It's really just sweat equity. So another huge benefit about Google My Business, it is a repository for your online reviews. And there is nothing more authoritative than Google right now. And you can direct people to leave reviews on your Google My Business page. And it helps where it shows up. It helps when people look for you and are researching you. So it's a great place to do your review management. And for professionals, because this can be used by professionals, it can be used by an insurance agent that is his own entity working for a larger brokerage, or real estate agents, nonprofits, groups and organizations, churches. A lot of people can take advantage of it. Google My Business, that title throws people off, but it really can be used by just about every entity. And I always encourage professionals to take advantage and start working on their own personal branding, working on their own bank of reviews and their own history on the internet by claiming their listing. So if you haven't done this before, first you basically have to claim your listing, and I left the link here, and Mark should be able to share this. You sign up with your Google account. You basically put in your basic information, and they send you a postcard and say, "Hey, are you real? Or you say you are?" It has a little code on it. And once you get that postcard and verify it, then you can start using your Google My Business listing. And after that point, it's really about, this is where the sweat equity part comes in, and it really is up to how much effort you put into it. So first of all, it has all kinds of fields, and I encourage everybody to fill everything out as much as possible. You can really add a lot. The similarities between the Google My Business listing and a website there's a lot of commonalities there. You can add photos, you can add your logo, you can add a cover photo. You can add, if you're in a brick and mortar location, or if not, you can tell the listing where you service. So if you are a real estate agent working out of your home, or a membership organization working out of your home, and you don't want that address to show up, you can hide your address and just say, "Hey, I service this area. Hey, I'm in Midlothian, or I'm in Newport News." All your contact information, if you have a website, your phone, your email, your services, your products. It's really crazy what you can add, and they just keep on adding more stuff. For restaurants, you can add menus, ways to order. You can activate a chat feature where people can chat with you through your Google My Business if you so want. Very interesting stuff for people who are trying to be very contactable. And the other cool thing is you can actually post on your Google My Business. Just like Facebook or social media, you can share links, you can share photos. So if you have a content marketing plan, so to speak, where you're sharing a post on your Facebook, also share it on your Google My Business. Google loves fresh content. They love people who provide value. So this only helps you in Google's eyes when you post often and regularly. And I know those are kind of the same thing, but being consistent is a very challenging thing. That's the most challenging thing when it comes to a content distribution campaign, content marketing, like social media. Trying to post every day can be a real chore sometimes. But they love consistent content, and they will benefit you for it. So reviews are a big part of this entity, for a couple, and for a couple of reasons. We are a review-driven society. We all go to Amazon or eBay and check the reviews on a product before we buy it. I don't know many people who don't check a product out thoroughly and see what people are saying. So it's proof positive of your reputation at what you do. And the second part is reviews are a huge SEO ranking indicator. And that's a big fancy term for your reviews help you get pushed up the listings. And as Google calculates like who should be on top, how many reviews and how many positive reviews you have is a huge factor in where you show up. So in the map pack itself, you can usually find the people that are in the 1 and 2 slots have lots of reviews. They have their Google My Business filled out and they're posting regularly. So it makes a huge difference. So again, if you're trying to be competitive in that space, that's something I would recommend you get a hold of or get a hand on. And so here's a little guide on how to get real reviews. You sell a product that's delivered with top-notch service. This is a step that's on you. And this is a little different for you guys. Your product isn't exactly the blue widgets. It's membership. But if your membership is, all that it should be and you deliver it with great customer service, that's step 1. Step 2 is asking for reviews when customers are hot and happy. Right when you are top of mind, not a week later, not 2 weeks later, ask for that review right after that kind of closure is done or after you've had a chance to provide your first chunk of value. Ask when you're top of mind. And the kind of the last part is to make it easy. Don't just say, hey, leave us a review. You're asking people to go dig and hunt and find and look you up. Provide them with a link. Provide them with an easy path right to where they can leave a review. And that makes it easy. Just the truth about our society, they're going to forget about you if you don't remind them, and they're not going to do it if it's a pain in the butt and it takes more than 4 clicks, or it's just how it is. There is automated software that can help with review management. I actually built one. It's called Review Monkey. If that interests anybody, you can go to that link and check it out. There's a free demo, and it basically automates step 2 and 3. Sends people a text, says, hey, how did it go? If they indicate it was positive, it takes them right to where you would leave a review for your business or organization or whatever. So some final tips on reviews. Review management is more than just getting the review. It's about making the most of it. So I recommend that people respond to all reviews, positive or negative, especially those negative ones. You can really show your character with a well-crafted, non-confrontational response to somebody's negative review or outlook. And if it's a fake negative review, there's things you can do about that to get it removed. There is report features. You can contest a bad review, like somebody that you don't even know leaves you 1 star and no comments. You can contest that. So getting too many reviews all at once can look suspicious. Again, it would have to be a lot. It would have to be several hundred at once. So this doesn't apply to most people, but that does apply for people who are trying to buy reviews, which is step number 3. Never go out and buy reviews from Fiverr or any other place that say, hey, we'll just go and add reviews to your site. That's a surefire way to get in trouble with Google and potentially lose your Google My Business listing, because they're easy to spot. The fake reviews are super easy to spot, and you're not fooling anybody. And one thing I will add to this, number 4, is that's not on here, is to market your positive reviews. So you can show them off in a couple of different ways. You can make social posts out of your positive reviews that people leave you. Turn it into a social post, distribute it on your Google My Business page, distribute it on Facebook. And then you can display those on your website if you have one. There's ways you can embed your reviews from Google right on your website and show those bad boys off. And so then you're marketing your positive reviews. And that is about the long and short of it. Again, this is just a great tool. I preach this all the time. This is a talk I give pretty regularly, and it falls on very different audiences. I can do the same one for businesses, for nonprofits, for real estate agents. I did this for property managers one time, and they found value in it as well. So that's about all I had to speak on. I'm definitely open for any questions on this or any other digital marketing questions. I am a wealth of knowledge. Feel free.
Oh, Blair, thanks. I mean, this is pretty neat. You know, what I knew about Google My Business before this was, oh, that's something Blair mentioned once. I wonder what the heck it is, and then off we go. So I really appreciate this. I mean, I see stuff right here for the consortium, and also, you know, my role in some other membership associations. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, it sucks that I didn't know about this. But right now, the only thing that sucks is like, now I want to do this too, you know, so adding it in there. If you don't mind, I you know, get some. I got a question. Actually, this is a question for Teddy. If you'd be so kind, you put a note there in the excuse me, in the chat box about first chunk of value. Could you just share a little bit more about, you know, what you heard that stirred that, and
that was
where we should take that?
It just came off as part of his discussion. Once you've delivered that first chunk of value, that is the issue that everybody has. What is the value customers find or clients find in your product or service? And I had never thought of it in terms. I'm a quality person. I've always thought of it in terms of performance characteristics, requirements, specifications, etc. But when he said first chunk of value, that means that you have to identify the most important chunks of value to your customer and deliver the first chunk that hooks them, gets them coming to you. Then you have to identify that chain, that those chunks of value, and they're going to be different for every customer. It's just like, again, my background is in quality engineering professionally, and we look at it in terms of requirements, specifications, customers' expectations. But in reality, it's in chunks of value. The customer has to see value. And if you use the term chunk, now we have something we can assign value to, a unit of value, but it's associated with your product. So I thought that was an interesting statement. Once you've delivered your first chunk of value, follow up immediately for your review. So chunk of value, good takeaway.
Cool. Thanks, Terry. Thanks for going a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so for you guys, it's a little different. It's not, hey, do you like the blue widget? You sign somebody up for a membership. You don't ask right then because nothing has happened. They don't have anything to go off of. It's after they've gone to the first day at the pool or the first, you know, I'm not familiar with the events, but something that, again, that brings them something that they can give feedback on.
Is there, I'll ask you, since you're the marketing expert here, is this why, you know, when they buy something off of Amazon, you will, within a certain amount of period, get a follow-up to do a survey on the product? They don't, it's not right then, but they've got some timer set. And I hadn't thought of it like that before. They give you time to interact with it.
Yeah, and they, Amazon sellers are confined to only communicate through the Amazon system. So you'll notice that email still comes from Amazon, but they're allowed to say, hey, did you like the product? They'll also put cards in their product I'm sure everybody's gotten a card in a product that said, hey, thank you for enjoying us. On the flip side, let us know how we did, with a link to their Amazon page. Yeah, so there's.
So I guess that period of time for the customer to interface with your product or interface with your service, and then decide whether or not that first chunk of value met their expectations or requirements. That will probably vary by service or product type, or do you have any insight on that?
It does, and I think it really depends on your offering. You know, if you're picking up food from your local Chinese takeout, you know, they should be sending you a text that evening.
Mm-hmm.
My campaigns are usually 6 months. And so I don't hit the person right after. I get them a chance to make sure their website is working and everything is flowing. And then I drop it on them. So my window is a little, you know, I usually have an ongoing relationship with the people I work. So mine is definitely different than that because of the lead time. But I guess it just depends on how, I want to say, disposable your product is, or how yeah.
Well, so yeah, well, that's a problem with services that are seen as being consumed instantly, and then people move on. But in reality, there's the service period in which the more research shows, the more that people interact with the service and help specify it as it's being delivered, the more satisfied that they tend to be with the results of that service. So that's part of it. There's also the technical service. You know, once Uber drops you off, that's the technical piece. You've arrived at your location, and then there's a memory with that also. So there's two elements to services. Of course, products tend to have some permanence, but you brought up another point, allowing you said something about allowing customers to interact with your product to establish the flow, which means that you have ongoing interactions. So there's a timing to not only the ratings, but there's a timing to follow up, and the follow up is about the value of the product rather than about the rating. The rating itself is, oh, by the way, since you seem to be satisfied, would you fill this out more and rate the service or the product?
Yeah, I think it's you know, you should really put yourself in your customer's feet, and if it's too soon as you hang up the phone, then it's too soon. And the other kind of limiting factor is honestly time to do this. Even when people use my app, they still have to find time to enter the phone number to text that person. So if you're doing 25 transactions a day or 50 transactions a day, it's a little much at each one. And so those might get batched at the end of the day. So it's a time constraint and knowing your client's tolerance for you know, what's coming.
Yeah, and that's important too, because we deal with that all the time in management. I'm in engineering management, and we do surveys. And even when I was in industry, we did surveys. Surveys are notoriously bad for responses, and it's really tough to design a survey such that you have just the minimum number of questions that it doesn't become onerous. If there's one thing I hate, it's when I get this survey. Yeah, I see Jim smiling there. I get this survey, and you think it's going to be 5 questions, and they keep leading you from screen to screen to screen. Yeah. So again, I assume when you go for the rating question, and again, that's timing, as you're indicating, that that you keep the rating process should be very simple.
Yeah, The app makes it super simple, and that's on purpose. I personally, this is a little, I don't want to say dirty, but it does. So while I'm on the phone, be like, hey, I'm going to send you an email with a couple links. If I'd love to know what you think. So we both know that email's coming, and
Right.
there's kind of an unspoken, oh, I didn't see your email, but what we, I told you about it. So,
So it's not only just the rating and the email, but there's the ongoing, even with the product, there's the ongoing customer contact and feedback. Again, that has to be, I assume, timed correctly with minimum interference.
Yeah. And there's a when I started creating this app, I really started getting kind of into the different angles, and there's a real value in the customer service world in asking. There's a vulnerability there. You're saying, hey, let me know how it went. Let me have it. Either way, I want to know. And so there's something to that. And there's something about opening that door. And there's a lot of instances where opening the door would turn a would-be negative review into a chance to get in front of that. You're asking that they're ready to blast you. They're ready to let you have it. You asked, they're like, oh, well, he asked, so I'm just going to tell him directly, your burger tasted like crap. So, okay, well, I'm totally sorry. Let me hand make you another one. And so you've gotten in front of that customer, and you may have even turned that person that disliked you into a loyal customer.
Yeah.
So there's
with building web apps, there's a lot of variability in that. So do you find a need to have a high level of interaction with your clients as you're developing that? To get their inputs, their preferences?
I think I had just tried and trying to get my customers to do this over the years, and doing it myself. It just came out of that. I kind of just knew, but I deliver. I'm proud of the products I deliver, but I am not a customer service specialist. But this is an aspect I didn't expect that I found is really cool.
Okay, so maybe you are a customer service specialist and just don't know it. Okay, I'm going to stop hogging the time here and that Deanie and Jim have a little time.
And Teddy, don't worry about it. Nobody voted with their feet yet. So I think you're good. Of course, it's really hard to be impolite. This is one of those things because it's a little intimate group here. It's like, we'll know if Jim bails out, and we'll know right then. There's no gallery of 30 people here that he can hide in. Deanie, I saw you unmuted. Question?
Yeah, I did. So I had a question for Blair about, so Blair, you were talking about when you post to social media, how to connect with Google My Business. So when I post for my business, I have an event, a corporate event company, and I do social media for my clients, but I don't do it for me, right? Like kind of like the cobbler's kids have no shoes sort of thing, right? You do it for your clients, but you don't do it as much for you. So I'm trying to get better at doing it for our business as well. You mentioned that I could link, or we can link something when we do social media posts to Google My Business. And I wanted to get a little bit more information on that. So if I post something on, let's say, just say Facebook, because I will tag my business Facebook page. Is there something else that you mentioned before that I could tag Google My Business, or could you explain that in a little bit more detail?
You can think of it as it is just like, I'm going to share my screen again. It is just like, so here's the back end of Talking Monkey Media. So it is just like Facebook, Twitter, and that you can just add a post. So if I just go to post here, I can Those are my posts. Oh boy, I'm gonna make myself look like a fool here. Kidding me.
Go for it, Blair. Here's your high wire.
I know. I use a tool to do it. So right up here, you wanted to add a product, add an update. So most of the ones you're going to add are an update, and you can write your post, add a photo, and then you can even add a button. So I can say I want to learn more, and then I can add a link to my website or wherever this goes. And so your event you could add your event photo here.
That's on Google, not on like
This is
Facebook.
on Google My Business.
So you would post your thing or whatever your announcement is, not on social media or Twitter or anything like that. You would post it right here on Google My Business.
Well, no, you would add it. Add this to your list. So if you're doing Facebook and Twitter today, make it Facebook, Twitter, and Google My Business. It's just one more property. It just happens to be Google. And so the benefits of posting it there are really high with all the different benefits that come from it. So you can write your post right here and then add a link to learn more. And then the link to sign up to your event, you could put it right there. Here's one I did about SEO. I'm kind of doing a series on what is SEO and what's not. So this is just a little meme I posted along with just a description. And here's I shared a website that I built for Profusion Consulting, and here's our Memorial Day post, and here's our new logos. And so it's just a feed. It's not like a feed that a lot of people are going to read, but more so Google and the people who are searching on you might see this.
And that's good to do in addition to like your Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that.
Yep. For the simple reason that Google likes regular content, which will take this listing and amp it up and keep building.
But wouldn't Google's like spiders, like crawl a Facebook business page or some other social media anyway to find what we posted? Absolutely.
But you're putting it in front of their face one more time.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that makes sense.
And if you've already set it up and you've already built the post, it's just copying and pasting at that point, and it takes you another 2-3 minutes.
So my thing with with running a business is figuring out what things are worth the effort and which things are not. So Facebook, maybe, because I'm connected with certain other business people, or maybe LinkedIn because of that connection. So with learning more about like Google Business, as you're talking about, I'm thinking, is it worth that extra effort to post additionally to Google My Business, which to me as an owner seems like just another thing to do. But if it's definitely worth it and it will make us rank higher, then I can see the advantage in that. So that's what I'm trying to debate. Like I only have a certain amount of time in the day. Totally. Is that something that I should definitely use my spare time to do or not?
I would highly recommend it. Okay. Just because, again, if you're trying to be competitive in whatever space you're in, this is your flag at the top of the mountain, on Google's mountain. Hey, this is me. This is who I am. I find it extremely important. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. If I could jump in on that, what Deanie and Blair were just discussing. And so this is ultimately going to be a question. So PDCHR, you all probably know by now, it's staffed by yours truly, and that's it. So I use, Deanie. So I use a ton of automation and stuff in the background to manage almost everything, but one big chunk is social media. So it's like the step before Hootsuite or the step before Buffer. I actually build a whole bunch of things there and it managed. So long story longer, does that work with Google My Business? Is there a way to
Yes.
populate from a distance. Blair, I heard you say that you actually use a different front end. So I think that means the answer is yes, but is it something that's generally available, or any thoughts on how to ease that process, I guess?
Yeah, and I admittedly do not run clients' social media campaigns. I have a person for that. That's what they do all day long. It would drive me nuts,
Right.
but I don't pay for it myself. So as a part of one of my search engine tools, they have a social media poster with a calendar, and I can post to just about everything. So when I create a post, I hit Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google My Business, and Pinterest. So I just check those boxes with the same post, hit go or schedule. And you would think with all that automation, I'd be on top of it, but I'm still not.
So, yeah, if you plug into some AI to write the copy and press the button for you, you're all set, right?
So Hootsuite might do it, and there's probably some other tools that will connect.
Yeah.
I'm totally transparent. I use SEM Rush. But it's not a cheap tool because it has a lot of search engine optimization tools.
Yeah.
That's,
And one of the things for membership associations is, typically they're running on a pretty tight budget.
Yeah.
Right. I think I've shared that PDCHR's budget, when we're not a membership association, we're just a straight old 501c3. I mean, we do what we do on like, $3,000 a year. Typical membership associations, at the local level, we'll have a budget, an operating budget, it might, probably 4 digits, might break 5 digits, but, so the concept of like, what can we do that leverages, either the leadership resources or volunteer resources, or inexpensive tools in between is pretty important. So I'm always on the lookout for that, to share with, my fellow membership association leaders. So that's good. So I've got I've already got like 13 homework questions for myself on that. I did have another one, another question in there. In this, I'm sorry, I know what it was. So going back to putting Blair back on the Highwire Act.
oh boy.
Yeah, right. So now you've got some warning. So I'm talking a little bit more so you can prepare your no, I can't do it, and here's the reason why. Would it be, I think it might be, interesting, maybe just take a couple of minutes. Could you walk us through Review Monkey so you can get a little insight of, how a tool, your tool works?
Yeah, just give me a second and I will log in and then share my screen.
And for the other folks, while Blair is doing this, if you are running a membership association, there's really nothing better you can do in a program than surprise the speaker. Okay, I'm just kidding about that. I also, when we were talking about surveys, I dropped in the chat box. I was kind of showing off PDCHR session survey, and I'll put it back in there again. So if you looked at it and opened it, don't close it because I'm going to ask you to fill that out at the end of this one, but it's like less than 2 minutes.
All right, so this is the back end of Review Monkey. It's not, anything exciting. It's actually very straightforward. So after you get everything set up, there are 2 ways to send a review request, a review invite. There's a single review invite. You click here. You add first name, last name, and a phone number. I always recommend the cell phone because it'll send them a text. Text open rates are far beyond email open rates. They're literally on the opposite ends of the percentage spectrum. You can do both, but I recommend cell phone. And this will send a link that says, hey, how did we do? If they click on the link, they literally get this page. And it's super simple. It's social, familiar. The thumbs up, thumbs down is part of our world already. Hey, how did it go with Talking Monkey? And click on thumbs up. And I said, hey, man, that's awesome. Here's a link to my Google. Here's a link to my Facebook. And if I click on this, it's going to take me right to the spot where I leave a review, literally right to the page. And same thing with Facebook. It takes me right to the tab on my page where people can leave a review. I'm not logged in on Facebook. So if they happen to click the thumbs down, it says, oh gosh, what happened? Let us know how we did. And it offers them a form to give you feedback. And you're not preventing them from going to leave you a review. So there's nothing diabolical about this. It's just saying, oh, wow, you're unhappy. What happened? And there's nothing wrong with that, asking that question. And so you get this feedback through our system, and it gives you a chance to reply back. All this comes in you get notifications for every step along the way. Somebody leaves you a feedback, you get notifications. And the other way to request reviews is a bulk upload. So if you're dealing with dozens and dozens of people a day, and you don't want to do this individually, you can upload a spreadsheet, first name, last name, phone number, and it'll chunk through it during regular business hours, and send texts out throughout the day. So I recommend this for my retail shops that are so busy during the day. Create a batch file at the end of the night, upload it the next morning, and it'll just chunk through it. So I will
Blair,
go.
does this automatically post? So if somebody does a thumbs down, let's say, unfortunately, does that post directly on Google, or do we have to kind of like accept this in order for it to post to Google, or is it connected in any way?
No, not at all. The form is the mechanism of ReviewMonkey, and that's if somebody fills that out, it goes directly to you and only to you.
So then how do we get those reviews on Google if we go through your Talking Monkey Media? Do we have to, once we see that positive or negative review, do we then have to tell the client to go ahead and click our Google page to post that?
No, so what happens if they click on the thumbs up, this window takes them right to the place they're going to leave a review on Google. And there's
that's our own unique link that because I have a unique link from
Google. So this is mine for Talking Monkey Media. And when I click on Google, you'll notice it opens up right to the review space for Talking Monkey Media.
So I can put in my own URL for that because I have one that will take them straight to this type of thing as well.
Yeah, this is customized for each and every customer.
Okay.
I'll reshare. Sorry about that. The Zoom bar is in the way of my tabs. Okay, so all of this is customizable. Starting with the review sites, you can choose which review sites you want to present to people when they click a thumbs up. I always recommend Google and Facebook, but there are tons and tons of others that you can present people with. If you are a real estate agent, Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, and Home Advisor and Angie's List if you're a service provider. And this new one, Trustpilot, is really interesting. They're kind of trying to take it as a reviews for everything across the world. So this Trustpilot is up and coming. If you're an Amazon seller, you can do it this way. So pretty much anywhere you want to direct people, but the big ones are Google and Facebook. I recommend that nobody uses Yelp anymore.
No.
So the funnel itself, meaning the kind of the funnel of what the customer goes through, is all customizable. So from this text, how was your recent experience with, adding a logo down here to the choices. If they click thumbs up and click thumbs down, it's all customizable to add your branding, your personal tone and message, all of that. So once you get that all set up, it sends them links to your properties.
Okay.
And that's really it. The couple cool widgets we have is you can add this as an email signature. You can create a review us button for your website. But what's really cool is this one right here is the embed feature to embed your positive reviews onto your website. So these are mine. It creates a little code you can take to your website and add it, and it will automatically and dynamically display your positive Google reviews on your website. So that's a part of marketing your positive reviews.
So Blair, what is the advantage to you to have this app for us? Do you get some sort of affiliate stuff, because it's not like I'm selling a book where you can get, a 20% from sending your friends to my book review? I don't have a book, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? If it was
Yep.
like a product like that. What's the advantage to you to having something like this Review Monkey, and how do you?
Oh, I
take
created it.
advantage?
It's actually my software, so I'm the product owner
Right,
in this
right.
case.
But
Yeah,
how
so
do you
it's-
make money from me? And how do you make money from Mark? How do you make money?
Oh,
from
it's a subscription model. For one location, it's $99 a month. So it's a subscription model, software as a service. And so I'm the owner of the product. That's how I make my money there.
So so everybody like Teddy, Jim, Mark, and I would pay you the $99 in order to be able to utilize your service to send our clients your link with our hyperlink to leave a review.
Yep.
But what's the business model, I guess, for you? So I'm sorry. So why should I have my clients use your product versus me just sending them my already kind of like created Google link?
Oh, you could totally do that. And I
I
have,
know, but I mean, I know you now, so I think you're cool and you have all this information.
yeah,
I would love to go through your app, but is there an advantage to you for me sending them through your app versus me just sending them my random, just non-affiliated Google link?
No, not at all. I mean, the advantage is just whether you would find value in the convenience. Honestly, my business model doesn't work well with Review Monkey. I have 2 new clients a month. I don't need to send a text to 2, and plus it's much more personal with me. I'm meeting with my clients every week, and so it's hey, I'm going to send you an email. And so I don't even use it. It's not perfect for every business. If you don't have a regular flow of new customers, I do not recommend it. But if you have the need that you find value in automation, that's really it. It's the automation and the ease, and being able to hand that over to an employee is much more simple, and say, hey, you need to get our customers to leave better reviews, which can be overwhelming for a frontline employee. You can say, hey, punch these numbers in every time you get a customer finished. It makes it a little easier for the business owner to hand that off.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that.
Well, Blair and Mark, I just wanted to say thanks. I had like one big question halfway through your presentation, and you answered it, like whether Civically people could use it who don't necessarily have a hard address. You said that they could just by region without like putting a president's address in there. So this is wonderful stuff that I can share with our neighborhood civic leagues. But I wanted to thank you both. This is very good, and good to meet the rest of you, Deanie and Teddy.
Cool, very much. And if my information should be being distributed by Mark, you guys can reach out to me anytime with questions. I love helping people when definitely when I have the time, and especially people who are running like, this kind of the bootstrap stuff you guys are. I'm all about that, because that's how my whole life is built. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you so much.
So to that point, I just got Blair's information into the chat box, but also for those of you who have attended before, you know that on Friday you'll get a little follow-up email with a link to all the resources and all the connections and everything else we can we can put there, and that's our gift for people who actually show up at this. So the other people don't necessarily get that, even though I probably will share out the Zoom link, because I think there's some really valuable. A lot of really valuable things that we covered here today, and also give the opportunity for folks just like me to badger Blair out of the blue and say, what do you think about this? So if you don't mind, I'll I'll, throw one more question out there, and it's a little bit off topic there, but it's certainly in the marketing realm. Seeing no objections, I will proceed. Oh wait, Jim objects. Where's that mute
No,
and
I
kill
just think
video
that-
button?
I think I'm headed out, but thank you so much. I appreciate to all of you.
Thanks, Jim. Nice meeting you.
All right, Jim.
All right, you too.
Good to see you again. Thanks, sir.
All right, have a good evening.
All right, you too.
Bye, Jim.
So my question is a little bit less about the technical and a little bit more about the content. I mean, we certainly, got a ton of information about content in the context of reviews, and I think that's completely applicable to membership associations. But there still has to be something in the digital marketing realm to drive people to look at, consider, think about whatever that membership association. So one of the challenges that I've always had, and maybe it's just a personal one, but I suspect it's not unique, is that the associations I've been attached to, as well as PDCHR, most of our posts, most of our emailings and stuff like that are about, here's the next event. Won't you please come to the next event? But I don't think that's enough to bring people back. And, so this is but we are, membership associations are a service. We're providing typically programming and or advocacy and or networking and or socialization. So there are things of value that we, I don't know, dismiss, ignore along the way. So any thought on that from a digital perspective, what would be useful in terms of sharing in between the please come to our thing?
Yeah, and this is content creation is a big ugly black hole sometimes. Like, what do I write about? Who cares about my blogs and newsletters? So if you provide informative and helpful content that's relevant to your topic consistently, that is really what it's all about. I give my writers the 90-10 rule. It should be 90% informative and helpful and 10% sales. We're an HVAC company. Here is, 3 things you should know about turning your HVAC on in the summer. And, oh, by the way, if you need us to come check it out, we'll come check it out. Now that you have to get creative when let's say you're a neighborhood association or an association just for a neighborhood, you have to start finding topics that people are talking about. And so informative helpful is actually answering the questions that people are talking about. What are people talking about at the meetings? What are people buzzing and complaining about at the meetings? What are people asking you directly? Those are great segues into creating a topic, a blog piece, a social post, a series on that topic. Are azaleas big? Are you on Monument Avenue and you're all about the azaleas? I mean, you could write 3 articles on taking care of azaleas. I hate that plant. But yeah, that's just an example. So, and the other thing you can do is start poking around Google on your topic, see what other people are writing about, see if that provides any inspiration. Don't steal content, but it doesn't mean you can't say, hey, that's a great idea. Let me retrofit it to my audience and talk about it.
Makes sense.
And sometimes when you do a Google search at the bottom, it will literally show you the questions that people are asking on the topic. So that's what I use a lot of times. Is I use a tool that cheats and pulls it by the thousands. But I pop in a topic, it says, here's what people are asking, and use that to drive your content.
Dude, what's the name of that tool?
Same one, SEMrush.
Oh, yeah, that one that I can't afford, no membership association.
I can always run a few reports for you, Mark.
A, yes, and B, then the next question is, so since we're a 501c3, got a cheap rate? I ask that a lot. So anyways. Deanie, Teddy, any other questions?
Yeah, my only question would be to like Blair. I always like to know, I always love meeting new business people and things like that. And Blair, I haven't heard of your organization, so thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I think that's fabulous. Is there anything that we can do to help you? If you could tell us maybe a little bit more about your ideal prospects or clients that we could potentially refer to you. What does that look like? So when I'm out, I do a lot of networking. I'm always out there, you know, especially with the pandemic kind of waning down a bit. When I meet somebody out there, how will I know that they're an ideal client for you? Let me know that so that we can help each other out with business and stuff like that.
And my usual answer to this is twofold. Is what I do is a universal medium. I just released a website for a corporate consultant on like a Monday, and then on Thursday I released a website for a traveling baseball league. So the medium is really universal. But with that said, I usually am helping people out of the bad situation they're in. Unfortunately, there are a lot of sharks in my industry, a lot of incompetent people, and a lot of people that rely on, you know, my wife's brother, sister, cousin, who took a web course in high school. He's going to do our website. And it almost always ends poorly. And so sometimes people are like, I wish I could just find a local web guy. I wish I, you know, could get some answers. So I love talking to people and kicking them in the right direction, even if it's not with me. Like, hey, you don't need me. You need to go fix your Wix site, or you need this person to deal with that. And if it is with me, then great. But my whole shtick is providing value and to anybody that'll listen, and then that returns in people knowing that I know what the heck I'm talking about. And if you need somebody to do it for you, that's me. A lot of people have been people are paying $200 a month for website maintenance, and they don't know what they get, or SEO, when there actually isn't any SEO being done. And so those people are frustrated, and they want an out, and they want a solution, and they think just the next web guy is going to burn them just as bad. So I try to be anti that. Did that answer your question? Probably not.
A little bit. So your main thing is creation of the websites and optimize those websites. Is that correct?
Yeah, and SEO is an off. There's some on-site stuff that happens with SEO, but there's a lot that happens off-site. And content creation program is part of SEO. I won't do an SEO program unless there is a content program in place, or one that I'm going to add in place. So you know, I'm on the very high end of SEO knowledge, especially in Richmond and in Virginia. So yeah.
Very good. I do a lot of, I'm mainly down here in Hampton Roads, but I have a lot of partners up in Richmond, so I'm up there from time to time. So hopefully maybe one day when we're up there, we can, I can bring my project manager and stuff like that, and you can see the type of events that we do, because they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that would be neat.
And I got to get down to the coastal area to see Mark and
yeah, come see Mark and me.
I work with Ken Lee a whole lot. Ken Lees and I work on customers together, and we're, you know, Synapse has a lot of meeting locations down there as well. So now that things are lifted and we're trying to return to normal, I'm definitely going to be making some road trips, because I've been in this dang house too long.
Yeah.
All right. Cool that.
Yeah.
The dogs
Very
tired
good.
me too.
All righty. That's not how dogs operate. Dogs are never tired of us, as long as we keep feeding them. All right, I think we're there. Alcina, I saw you jumped in a little bit after we got started. Do you have any questions for Blair? As you know, because you've attended some of these before, on Friday you'll get a link to the recording for this, so you can, you know, go back and, you know, check out what you might not have heard up front. And okay then. All right, then, very cool. So with that, Deanie, unless you've got one other thing, because it's like basically it's the Deanie and Blair show right now. I think we'll declare victory. Here's the point where I remind everybody who's still here to fill out their survey. So except Blair, because that's too self-serving, and me because
That guy was great.
That's right. That's pretty much it anyways. So it was very cool. Deanie, I don't know if I'm going to assume you're the one who already filled out the survey. I saw that one have. If not, you can go ahead and fix that and then I'll know that it was you. So anyways, so next month we have our first month of each quarter. I have a roundtable and we're kind of shifting topics a little bit, or the things we talk about. So we're moving away from marketing and we're looking at some practical stuff that is a little bit more membership focused. So so we have like I said, in July, we'll have our standard roundtable. And then coming up in August, on the August 24th, we'll have a new friend of mine from the Australia Social Values Bank is going to talk about social ROI. So this is like, how do you know that you're giving back, not just to your membership, but to your community writ large. I'm really excited about that. And then in September, we're offering another workshop about structuring the membership offering. So again, we're really kind of focusing on value to the members and the folks around them. A couple other things that we're doing that are brand new this year is we're doing a summer seminar series, which is easy to say. So at the end of July, we're going to be meeting with some, have a 2 hours Saturday morning, but the 31st, July 31st. So 2 hours, and we're going to put the local chapter of the American Society for Quality in the spotlight, sharing some stuff. And I think Teddy may have given us a sneak preview of that, sharing some information about what ASQ is all about, but really in the context of what about quality principles might be useful to running your membership association. And then August 28th, my calendar's over there, August 28th, same thing as Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon. We're going to have folks from the local Project Management Institute. Actually, I think I got those backwards. Anyways, we're doing those two things. So PMI folks are going to come and talk on one of those about how project management principles can be useful in terms of running membership organization. So yeah, it's actually PMI in July and then ASQ in August. So silly me for not having that right in front of me. Anyways, so that's it for tonight. Unless there's any last calls, we'll enjoy the gift of time, right? This is my 19-minute gift to you.
Very good. Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Mark. This was great. Thanks,
All right, great.
Blair.
Nice meeting everybody.
You. Keep in
Y'all have a good-
touch.
All right, bye now.
All right. Thanks, Danny.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.